So, and looking to the future just a little bit, Gal and Josh, do either of you have exciting alpha or upcoming developments you'd like to share with the audience? As in, what are you looking forward to?
Josh,
You go.
I think in terms of hypernative, we have a lot going on. I think again, one of to us, security and risk is one of the big issues in the space that really limit it from fulfilling the full potential. And there are endless kind of areas that we want to cover and protect. I think one of the more exciting areas is that Hypernative is thinking about how to take what we're doing and serve that also as a permissionless and a decentralized manner on chain, which will essentially eliminate and prevent hacks in a much finer grained fashion. And this is something that we're working, and we hope to partner with some very like-minded solutions. I think the other part is about expanding what we are doing and helping from retails to wallet providers to other type of risk around staking and restaking, and not just like around hacks and exploit, but how Hypernative and the technology that we are building can basically leverage to help detect and prevent loss from a lot of different angles and risks in the industry. And we are happy to have to partner with FLR and work together on some of these areas as well.
Thank you, Gal.
Yeah, and so for us, we're just pushing constant updates to our app improvements. We're going to add more words for the FTSOs, so strategy writers can use the FTSOs in even more useful ways, including moving averages. And we'll also be doing a lot of community stuff over the next few months, more strategies as examples, workshops for people who want to learn, and just pulling people together and just continually improving the experience for traders. And we're also working on a leverage protocol that will use Rainlang, which is still pretty alpha, but really exciting. I think it's going to be great.
All right. So before we move on to Luca and Hugo, because I have some questions for them as well, I want to, real quick, thanks Josh and Gal for the deep dive and all the information they shared with us. It was very educating, and it was great to hear about all the developments that you guys are working on with partnership with FLR. So yeah, thank you guys. So
Thanks so
Luca,
much.
of course. Luca and Hugo, some questions for you guys. FLR released the consensus learning white paper a while ago. And then this month you've released a more easy to understand blog. Maybe you can give the community a reminder of why this new approach to machine learning is so exciting.
Oh, absolutely. Big subject. So I'll try and be concise. But the first thing I'd say about it is I think it's one of the most exciting use cases for a blockchain. We pretty much the primary use case we all know is finance. And I think, we've made some traction in finance, but maybe, not as much as have been hoped. I do think things like Rainlang will make it a lot easier, but still not as much as we would hope. The world is still using banks. I think AI with blockchain is possibly as big, if not 10 times bigger than DeFi. And I think if executed correctly, I think it's a truly interesting space. I think I think it's very interesting because from our perspective, specifically with the paper that we released with consensus learning, it is something that can make AI better. And that's really the crux of the matter. If you have a better system, it's more useful. So to go into why is it interesting? Well, to try and kind of break it down a little bit, all machine learning models, have some edge cases or faults where they don't work, where they miss certain things. And this is often because of an insufficient amount of data that is being used to train the model, or bias in the data, or even wrong model specification. And consensus learning presents some solutions to those problems, essentially by allowing entities to do collaborative AI across a blockchain, whereby they're running their models completely off-chain. Their data is private. Their model is private, but they are able to collaborate with each other through the blockchain, essentially to provably find a superior inference than if any of them was just running that a model themselves. And so what you end up with consensus learning is effectively a way to get far more data and far more models into answering a particular query. And so that, I think, is why it's exciting.
Thanks, Hugo. It was great to hear your insights about machine learning. I want to touch base on the FTSO V2. So you just released a white paper on the FTSO V2, but we've had the V1 on Songbird and FLR for a long time. What are the big changes you would say with V2, and what does it mean for builders and the ecosystems?
I think I'm going to hand that over to Luca.
Yeah. Okay. So as you said, version 1 is live on FLR and on Songbird for quite some time. But with version 2, we basically do 2 upgrades. We scale up. So currently we support, I think, 18 pairs on FLR, and with the update, we will be able to support up to 1,000 pairs. So with actually reducing the workload on the blockchain itself. So less gas throughput will be used for FTSO, and we'll get a lot more prices. And in addition to that, we also get a per block price updates with this fast updates part of the version 2, which means that price updates actually happen very, very rapidly. So you end up with a system that has anchor prices and really, really fast updates of the prices, which are highly accurate. And as you said previously, we still keep the same security level as we did to version 1, basically having FTSO Oracle secured by the blockchain itself. So,
Luca, would you be able to give an overview of the design of how does the FTSO V2 handle scaling to 1,000 data feeds?
Yeah, I mean, so a lot of these median calculations actually happen on entities validator nodes. Basically, it's a piece of software that's run on top of the node, and the calculation, each provider does its own calculation, creates something called a Merkle tree of these median prices, and just pushes the root of this Merkle tree to the blockchain every 90 seconds. So that's how we reduce the traffic a lot and basically offload the computation to more efficient systems that can be run natively by every provider.
I'll add some info there. So currently with FTSO V1, all of those prices are just directly posted on chain. So there's a massive data footprint that you're seeing on the chain, which is not a very scalable system. So as Luca touched upon with V2, we're moving to this Merkle root type of structure where we essentially have the Merkle roots, and you can then reveal the price that's been posted via the Merkle root. So it's more efficient, and as Lucas said, we're looking to take it from currently about like 20-ish price feeds to, let's say, 1,000 in the future. And so that's what's at the root of our scaling. And alongside that, you're looking at 90 seconds that these Merkle roots are posted. And then on top of that, we're we're taking a look at faster updates and more upgrades along those lines for people who need prices faster than that. And as a part of FTSO V2, we're looking to expand the types of price feeds we have, right? So currently today uh, we have mainly crypto asset prices. But I think if you think about a decentralized Oracle, right, you have to think about what assets or what types of prices can we bring on chain for people to use, whether that is commodities, whether that is specific other assets, equities, right, potentially. And so there's a broad spectrum of prices that we can bring on chain, and we're working a lot with our protocols to understand what types of price feeds they want, how fast that they want those price feeds, and essentially helping them integrate that. And I think that's what makes Flare so distinct, is that we can essentially help find what price feeds you want, integrate it into our Oracle, and provide it to your protocol.
And would you be able to give us some examples of the type of data feeds that V2 might support already that you have in your queue?
Yeah, so a lot of V1, right, today is mostly crypto assets, right? So what the expansion of V2 is looking to do is get currency pairs on. So let's say the British pound, or let's say the Turkish lira. Gosh, I hope no one uses that, but like just get more currency pairs, the Japan yen. And then from there we can kind of expand into commodities where it's gold, platinum. I've been talking to people who are interested in uranium price feeds, right? And so the expansion of the Oracle protocol will be those functional assets that we deem that people will be interested in having the price feeds, and then from there we can expand to different types of data that exist out there, right? So it doesn't even have to be a price feed. It could be a data of a specific. Uh, I personally watch a lot of sports, so there's of course sports lines, but like there's a lot of different types of data within different markets that you can kind of bring on chain that we're eventually looking to do. But first, with FDSO V2, we will mainly focus on commodities, currencies, and whatnot.
Thanks, Joe. And would you be able to share the selection process, the work, for adding new data feeds to the V2? Will there be a community involvement or governance decisions involved?
Yeah, so we as a team have taken a look at what markets and done some data done some market research as to what people trade a lot on, or what price feeds are essentially used the most, right? And so I would say outside of crypto pairs that trade 24/7, currency is probably very close to that as well, right? Largely trade mostly like 24 hours. I would say most currencies do. I would say outside of the Friday 5 p.m. until the Sydney Open, nonetheless currencies trade most of the time. So we're taking a look at markets, and we're expanding more into traditional markets. But in terms of adding more price feeds, right? Like we can go through consensus. You can reach out to the foundation, and talk about like what the chain can kind of offer you, and I mean we can work with each protocol to see what we can do as a team to help support you within the community.
Great. Would you guys would be able to tell us a little bit more about the new feature, the low latency updates on demand, and what does it mean?
Yeah, so I think you're referring to fast updates. I'll pass it back to Luca on this one.
Yeah, so with the fast updates, you would be basically able to update the price of any of the feeds that we support in this classical scaling way in every block, and this is done by some sort of a cryptographic sortition selection of which provider can do so, and every block people have an ability to basically decide to change the feed up a certain amount, down a certain amount, or just leave it as it is, and it's still secured by basically the same rewarding structure as we have with the classical scaling FDSO. So,
And how much would it cost for dApps to access the anchor price updates, for example?
All of the feeds are actually free to use and can be, just read from a contract. So totally permissionless and free.
Amazing, amazing. And how does the community funding mechanism for fast updates work?
Yeah, so community can actually offer a reward which makes it possible for the system to do more updates in a short amount of time, and also to provide bigger updates in this shorter amount of time, making it possible for community saying that, I don't know, something odd is happening and that the price is really unstable. Somebody could offer a price for us to do more updates than updates that we would usually do, making and allowing us to move the price faster because of this reward offer. And note that we also allow people to offer rewards for the scaling updates. So even if you want to have some certain feeds introduced into the scaling system, you can offer the community reward, and providers will be able to see these rewards, and if they want to get them, they can actually provide the prices, and if the sufficient turnout is reached, which you can also set up as when you offer the reward, they will actually get paid out. So
it would basically depend based on the apps, right? So is that why the projects would use the 90-second anchor updates, for example, when there are updates available every block?
excuse me, can you repeat the question?
Yeah, I'm saying, so why would a project use the 90-second anchor updates when there are updates available every block? That would depend on based on each dApp's needs, correct?
I mean, yeah. So still, the 90-second updates are, predictable. You know exactly when they're gonna happen, whereas fast updates can maybe require a little bit more computation, but it's a trade-off that every dApp needs to decide on how to approach it.
Nice. I want to touch a little bit about the use cases as well, and maybe you can let the audience know, what does this upgrade mean in terms of what can be built on top of Flare?
I mean,
And of course, sorry, will it enable any new use cases on Flare, right?
of course, as we introduce more pairs that are not only the crypto pairs, but more traditional finance pairs and everything like that, can enable a variety of different projects to use the Oracle system on Flare. And because it's all on-chain governed by the smart contracts, it's totally verifiable and can be trusted by everybody in the ecosystem.
And would you be willing to say how the FTSO V2 compares against other oracles in the space?
Maybe I'm not the best at this comparison, so.
You maybe I'm happy to take that, or Dhruv can take that. I think Dhruv's been looking at that a fair amount.
Yeah, so I would say when you look across the space, right, like essentially there's different types of consensus mechanisms when you think about a lot of these oracles, right? So Pith per se is supposed to be super fast. Well, I mean, every single oracle system that claims to be somewhat decentralized goes through different, or like essentially goes through the blockchain trilemma a lot of the times, right? So Pith, which is super fast, obviously is going to be very centralized, probably has one or two price feeds that it pulls from and then immediately posts them, right? Chainlink itself has its own consensus mechanism on its chain that then gives the price to one node and trusts the node to then relay that to whichever chain it's providing the price on. So essentially, there's a single person that is taking that price and is relaying that to a different chain. Also, comparatively, I mean, if you take a look at Chainlink, they it's a lot more expensive, I will say, right? Comparatively. And I think that's where Flare kind of sits, where we can offer a chain that can tailor an oracle to what our protocols are looking at. While Chainlink will essentially just provide you a contract that you would call, and you don't have really a lot of say in what types of price feeds are available. And neither do you know a lot of the times like what the quality of that price could be, right? I mean, it really depends on what the consensus mechanism is. So I would say when you look across the field at oracles, what differentiates them is their consensus and how fast they're moving, right? And how those prices are posted. In Pitt's case, they're extremely fast, but maybe not as reliable. When you look at Chainlink, sometimes you don't know like how trustworthy it is, and you're paying a lot of money for Chainlink. With us at Flare, of course, you build on Flare, but you also get the ability to mold the Oracle into like what you'd want it to be for price feeds, especially as we upgrade into version 3, version 4 of the Oracle itself. But I'll pass it back to Hugo if he wants to fill anything in there.
No, I thought that was good. I passed it over to you because I always bang on about the same things, which is, I'm terrified of the risk of these centralized oracles. They can single-handedly bring down an ecosystem, and that's why passing the price through one node, to relay that is really suboptimal. It's just straightforwardly dangerous. There's a huge appetite for decentralized oracles in the space. We think to date we're the only people that have put an oracle on a blockchain, and of course, as a differentiator, we create the oracle signal in a very decentralized way. Where in order to remain decentralized, as George said, there is a trilemma, but we've I think with fast updates, we're pushing to the absolute edge of the possibility of the technology to create faster price updates whilst remaining decentralized. If it got any faster, it would lack decentralization. And then the sort of next step, the exciting step, is going to be the relay of our prices to other networks, and a charging model for that, so that Flare as a network, has a revenue stream, not for us, but for the FTSOs and their delegators. So that's kind of where I think we differentiate, and kind of where we're going to sort of go in the long run.
All right, I appreciate that, answering all the questions that I had for you guys today. Hugo, maybe I can pass it on if there's any other things you'd like to share with the team coming up, any news.
Absolutely. So, we have the FTSO V2 voting for fast updates coming up. So we've already had the vote for scaling. Now there's going to be a governance proposal for fast updates. Just whilst we're on the topic of governance, when it comes to adding new prices to the FTSO, I think we're obviously going to continue to use the governance system, but I wonder if we ought to do a governance vote, and I'd be interested in people's thoughts on this. We ought to do a governance vote that allows the FTSOs themselves to propose and have essentially enable prices until we get to 500 prices. So essentially, I'm thinking that it would be sensible to have a governance vote, which basically allows the FTSOs to fill up our prices, basically between them until we get to 500 prices, at which point, we can then pass that back to governance, just as a way to speed it up rather than, have a governance vote every time a new price series is asked for. I think that could be a valuable thing. So, F Assets open beta on Coston is going to be coming, very soon. Just going through a few more internal testing things, but it's pretty much ready to go. And then the big challenge there has been, building the user interface for that. So pretty excited for that. The whole Flare team is coming to Dubai on the Sunday, which is very, very exciting. I'm speaking in Dubai at Token 2049 on Friday at 10:15 a.m. on the value of decentralizing AI. And we also have a mixer for developers that want to come and meet us in Dubai. And our socials have that information.
All right, amazing. Thanks, Hugo. We still have a little bit of time. are we okay? Should we invite a few of the listeners to ask any questions they might have?
Yeah, I'm open for it.
All right. So, raise your hands if you have any questions for our speakers. Right. We have one speaker joining us.
Who is it? And where are they?
It says connecting. I'm guessing internet problems. Let me approve somebody else in, and we'll try to answer their questions until this person joins us.
Let's see.
All right, Racer X, we can listen to you. Please let us know what questions you might have.
I just wanted to actually say that during the rollout of FLR, I was a believer. Then some of the changes I was very critical uh, of how some of that was done, as most in the space was. But I just wanted to say, I'm pretty excited about FLR. I'll delegate my tokens and the seamless way it works. I'm just really excited about what FLR's doing, and it was worth the delay and the time that was invested into making the blockchain, I think, a leader in its architecture and how it works. So I just wanted to say kudos to everyone on the team. Sometimes, we have to go through the pain to have something be as amazing, I think, as the FLR network is becoming. And so I just wanted to say thank you for this technology, and I, even though it was critical, I've changed my whole thought process on, sometimes you have to make those hard decisions to go against the grain in order to ensure that the protocol is what it should be. So thank you for all the hard work and the brain power that went into it. And I'm reaping the benefits of it, and just wanted to say thank you.
Thanks so much. That's a really amazing thing to hear. It's, there were a lot of times, where as we went through the rollout process, where, it's very anxious, and you make decisions, and you have to commit to certain routes, and and the team has to trust you that it's the right route, and the community has to trust you that it's the right route. But yeah, thank you. That's really amazing feedback. I think, I hope it's evident that we're, at least us at FLR, and pretty much everyone we work with, are very, very committed to trying to do things the right way. It's one of the reasons why, we're very happy to have partnered with Hypernative, because security really, really matters to us. This ecosystem is, we really, we'd like to find any attacks before. I mean, that's why we launched Songbird. We'd like to find any attacks before they become a primary product. And then, we're doing everything we can to make sure that this ecosystem is as safe as possible. And I'm sure there'll still be hiccups and issues, but we're doing our best on that side. And then it's up to the developers in the ecosystem as to whether they adopt the same kind of standards. And I think, broadly, I've been very happy to see, the dApps that are building on FLR, do take it safety and testing, very seriously. And I think one of the things we're doing with Hypernative is Hypernative are monitoring, I think, that as much of the ecosystem as possible, the whole ecosystem, and that gives us a bit more peace of mind as to, having an early warning system for that. So that's, very important. Thanks again for saying that. Very, very happy to hear that.
Yeah, I just wanted to add one more thing. I thought it was funny, you stress testing Songbird to try to, make sure that, you know, any vulnerabilities are exposed early, so fail fast. And unfortunately, you know, the XRP ledger with the AMM was a complete disaster. I work in the technology field, so to roll something out like that and have such a fail, you know, really kind of woke me up to the fact that, you know, what Flare is doing is honestly unparalleled, I think, in the community, in the space, to ensure that things are done right. And it's funny, the CEO of Uphold, they were discussing, you know, the possibilities of using the AMM on XRP Ledger versus, you know, the Flare using wrapped, you know, XRP, or, you know, and he didn't want to come out and say AMM. And honestly, if I was the CEO, I would definitely pick Flare over using the AMM as any option personally. That's just my take, but thank you.
Understood. Well, I would certainly encourage people to have a look at Rain and Rain Dex. You know, it's a really, you know, obviously there are other AMMs on Flare, and Gnosis built a good one, and then there's Blaze Swap. But I'm very excited for the flexibility that Rain Dex is going to give people, and the sort of ease of use, and it changes the way that people can trade, you know, on chain, and for me that's very exciting, because I you know, AMMs, they're okay, and you know, but they do have drawbacks. One of those drawbacks is that, you know, they're essentially, you know, you have impermanent loss, and they're exposed to you know, arbitrage and all those kind of things, and a lot of people, unless you have an active trading strategy in an AMM, you know, they are essentially sitting there potentially, you know, essentially giving away value to other people. Not to say that AMMs are bad; they have their absolute uses, but I'm very, very keen to see you know, other types of trading that works.
All right, thank you so much. We have a few other requests. If that's fine, maybe Hugo, we can take one or two more.
Yeah, let's go for two.
All right. Just accepted one more. Let's see if they're connecting. All right.
Hello.
We have a speaker.
Hello, am I on?
You are.
You're on.
Please go ahead.
Thank you so much. Yes, question for Hugo. I love the idea that F assets and Costin are comment of Songbird, obviously. But it would be great to get a comment about projects launching on Flare and skipping Songbird. And obviously the ethos is to connect everything. So it'd be great to kind of anticipate how that all comes together. Songbird investors have been around for a while, obviously. So it would be great to understand how that all knits together, connects everything. And just a simple comment, no dates, nothing, no pressure, if you like. But it would be great to get a comment from Hugo for that.
So if I understand your question, it is about not the F assets, but about projects launching on Songbird. Is that correct?
Yes, in a sense of projects launching, skipping Songbird, and obviously, you know, we're expecting a buzz on Songbird soon because of F assets coming through Costin. So I guess it's
So let me.
to...
I guess Look, I have a simple policy. You know, it's not my place to force developers to use Songbird. I think, you know, they will develop on Songbird, you know, if the F assets on Songbird, you know, when they go live, and if people use them. Obviously, as we think about the future, we want to connect Songbird to Flare in the same way that Flare is going to connect to many other networks. So, I think Songbird is there. It's there. We're launching our protocols on it. In fact, we'll be upgrading Songbird soon, so that it moves to a better security model. But it's not my place in a decentralized ecosystem to kind of make people launch on Songbird. But we always encourage it.
That's cool. So yeah, I get the decentralized aspect, and obviously you still have the rules of the grants where if you give a grant, then things have to be pushed through Songbird. Is that right? Even if it's a protocol that doesn't lend itself to Songbird.
No, there's no stipulation that grants have to be given for a builder that they build on Songbird. It's a case by case basis. We certainly always encourage people to build on Songbird, but there's certainly not. We certainly wouldn't turn away a good project that wants to build on Flare and doesn't want to build on Songbird. That would be, a poor idea.
Got you. Okay. Thank you for your time.
All right. Thank you for your question.
My pleasure. Let's go one more.
All right. We'll take one more in. All right. We just accepted one more. Let's see if he's connecting through. All right. There you go.
Hello,
Let's
can
go.
you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Thank you for accepting me up. First of all, love the infrastructure. I appreciate all the security layers that you allow developers to build on, with Austin and the Canary network. It's amazing. If people in the ecosystem or in the community, and they're not as tech savvy as they wanted to be, but they wanted to still support projects infrastructure, is there a place besides maybe the Flare Discord that community members can get together to learn and also support at the same time?
Yeah, there's Telegram. A couple of Telegram groups in different languages. So there's, the main Flare Networks one. There's one in Russian, one in Chinese, one in Indian, I believe. One in, although Indian isn't a language, it's for India. So I just need to correct myself there. Otherwise, Twitter. I think we are thinking about. We are working on an ambassador program so that we can have local meetups of people that are interested in Flare. Not sure when that's rolling out, but it should be rolling out fairly soon. And if we happen to be at a conference near you, come and say hi.
Thank you, Hugo. Thank you, Michael, for asking and allowing me to speak.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Well, Michael, should we wrap this up?
We should. Thank you. Thank Josh and Gal, first of all, for providing all this great insight about what they're building. And then I want to also thank you, Hugo, and the team at Flare for the great work you guys are putting in and building such a great ecosystem.
Yes, Gal and Josh, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, so it's a wrap, and thanks for the listeners joining in and listening to this great conversation for the ecosystem call for this month. And have a great day.
Cool. And thanks, Luca, thanks, Drove, and thank you, Michael.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Bye, everyone.